If you want to have a successful training gym, then it's no secret you've got to be good at leading and inspiring a team. In today's video, I want to share what I think is the worst piece of leadership advice I hear given to training gym owners. My name is Mark Fisher. I'm from businessforunicorns.com, and my goodness, every time I hear this advice, I want to do the double face palm to the face. And this particular bit of leadership advice I think is great advice in a lot of situations, but you will rarely find this particular situation in training gyms. So the advice that I loathe is get great people, put them in their role, and get out of their way. And this is a perfect example of why we must contextualize the advice that we hear, which is not always appropriate for every size, scale, moment, corner of a given business. Broadly, if you are hiring a really ass-kicking executive for your training gym, if you're bringing someone in with a real big fat, let's call it a multi-six-figure comp, you get a multi-six-figure bonus incentive based on performance, they're coming in with batteries included, they have years of experience, they're way better at the role you've hired them for than you'll ever be, and you know that in many ways they're just smarter than you, then yeah, you probably want to get out of their way. So when you think about life for a typical training gym owner, by definition, you're not bringing people at massive compensation, you're going to be working with a lot of entry-level individuals, so the worst thing you can do is hire someone, put them in the role, and then get out of their way. What I am saying is, for most training gym owners, virtually everybody you hire as an employee is going to require a lot of time and energy and effort to grow them and develop them over time. Now, let's be clear, this certainly starts, and there's going to be a lot of energy and effort in the onboarding period. Now, without going into the weeds of exactly what is necessary for a training gym onboarding, I understand that you're going to have to spend time and effort getting the person up to speed with how things are done at your facility. So a crude framework I'll give you here that can be valuable is determine how many hours you're going to ask your new employee to spend training before you expect them to be rocking and rolling and able to deliver whatever their job responsibilities are up to the standards you expect. For a classic training gym, most of you are going to have 40 to 80 hours. That could go up to maybe 120 hours, which is 3 full weeks of training, which is pretty good. Even those of you with really substantive means and resources, you're only going to spend so long onboarding before they have to do whatever the job is. Secondly, you need to identify, okay, what are the buckets of the things they need to know? You're going to need to teach them about the basics of exercise technique, the way it's coached in your facility. So you have a list of exercises they need to learn. 2, if they have responsibility for program design, you're going to want to make sure that they're up to speed with how that happens in your facility. 3, you will likely have some HR types of things they need to know, right? There needs to be some system to teach them how to use emails, how to use your booking platform, to help them understand how that they're paid, right? You might, in some situations at MFF, well, probably not surprise you to hear this if you know MFF, do a culture onboarding so they understand the values of your organization and the expectations for how we show up and how we behave with each other and with the clients. Now, once you have the number of hours and once you have the list of things that they need to learn, now you chop it up like a delicious onboarding pie. So you now have to allocate those hours to each of those buckets. Now, if there's one thing I've learned, this is one of the biggest takeaways I've had having now been a leader for 11 plus years in a professional capacity and having worked with over 100 employees. And by the way, if you want to find out more lessons that I've learned with over 100 employees, click the link below. In the description, there's a link to a video where I cover that topic. And while you're there, why not hit subscribe and like? Why not do me a favor and help fill the hole inside the My Parents Lab? What I have learned from my experience as a leader is this is important to understand, even when the employee is very self-directed and craves autonomy, if I am not touching base with them on a very regular basis, now it's not necessarily a meeting every day, but it might be a voice text, an email, some kind of check-in. And admittedly, I work remotely, right? So I have to lean more on voice text and that kind of communication. If you're working with the person, you see them daily, that's a little bit different. In some ways, it's a little bit easier because you see them, but you also run a bigger risk of not seeing them and not occasionally stepping out the day-to-day being like, hey, how are you? The main tool that you will use to continue to invest time, energy, effort in your employee is some sort of regular one-on-one pulse. Now, depending on your business, likely most people benefit from a one-on-one at least every 4 weeks, depending on the size of your business and what the role is, what your relationship is, how developed they are. For instance, I meet with the leadership team at Mark Fisher Fitness, our general manager / operations director, our sales director, and our fitness director once per week. So in addition to the other voice texts, in addition to our leadership meeting, we do dedicated one-on-one once per week. And as it happens, if you're interested in learning more about what happens there, I just created another video covering that very topic where I share exactly my system for how I run effective one-on-ones to develop my team over time. So in closing, I don't think, again, this is necessarily bad advice. And overall, yes, listen, there might be a world where once you've really developed them, got them up to speed, you might have an individual. And I can think of a small handful I've worked with that were hyper confident, loved autonomy, meetings were a drag for them, and they just wanted to do their own thing. And we were able to find a way to do that. But on balance, I have not had too many experiences in my career where I was overly micromanaging someone. I've had more than I care to admit where the person wasn't getting enough attention, enough resources, enough time, and then overall felt maybe disconnected from me or the business, felt maybe they weren't getting the resources that they wanted. They just didn't feel as looped in as many people will want to. And I really want to highlight that because many of you watching, by definition of being a gym owner and opening up a fitness business, if you're an entrepreneur, you're likely a self-starter, right? So the way you're wired is you like to get things going, and you really value people that also have a little bit of entrepreneur instinct. And by all means, you can and should support those people that have that impulse. But the point I want to make is you do not want to put them in the role and get out of their way. You want to give them helpful frameworks so they know what success looks like. And I'll plug again one more time. Keep watching, click the link below. If you want to check out my exact system for this, I share that in another video. Lucky for you. All right, friends, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're interested in finding out more about how Business for Unicorns helps training gym owners create more income, more impact, and more freedom, head over to businessforunicorns.com. Thanks for watching today's video. I'll see you soon for more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and philosophy.